When we're looking at education, the University of Ghana is run by the University Council and not by former Vandals. Well, that's the response from the management of the school to former residents of the Commonwealth Hall who earlier today gathered at the forecourts of the university to protest management's decision to expel continuing students resident in the hall. The University Council's decision follows clashes between residents of Commonwealth and Mensa Saba Hall in August, and then we had a repeated distraction in December, which led to the destruction of school properties and the disappearance of John Mensa Saba's busts. Well, we'll hear from the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Godfrey Nawandere, shortly, but I want to first of all engage my colleague James Aveji, who has been on campus, and this is what he found out when he visited earlier.
So this morning, the old Vandals of the University of Ghana Commonwealth Hall gathered on campus to show what they call solidarity to current students against the university's decision to expel continuing students from the halls. Now, if you remember, late last year in August, there was a clash between the Commonwealth Hall as well as the Mensa Saba Hall during their Hall Week celebration. That led to an investigation from the school's authority into the matter. Now, the school's authority later issued a communique expelling the hallmaster as well as the senior tutor from their position. And so currently as we speak, the Commonwealth Hall does not have a hallmaster as well as a senior tutor in position. And later on, the school issued another communique in dealing with the issue to expel continuing students from the hall. They call it the in, out, out, out policy, where level 100 students will be admitted into the Commonwealth Hall as well as the Mensa Saba Hall. But when they go to level 200, they are expected to look for accommodation outside the halls in the private hostels to continue their studies to level 400 as they leave the school. The communique also noted that a student from the Mensa Saba Hall would have their male student out of the halls from level 200, except level 100 female student as well as graduate student. And in recent times, or some few days ago, the students had a press conference and they described the decision of the management as victimization of the student. They are of the view that there are school management persons in post who are supposed to take care of the security situations of the school. And so if something goes wrong as far as security is concerned on campus, it needed to be blamed on those in position who are supposed to take care of such issues. And so it is not the fault of the student, and so the punishment needn't come to the student. They said they are expecting some persons in management to be fired as well. Currently, as we speak, the schools, the All Student or the Vandals Association are in court fighting that earlier decision to expel the hallmaster as well as the senior tutor of the hall. And so this morning they have gathered here to show some solidarity to their colleagues who are in school for the school to maintain them in the halls. When we interacted with some of them earlier, they said all that they want right now is for the school's management to resign the decision of one, expelling the current student, continuing student, which is level 200 to 400 from the hall. Two, they want the school to reinstate the senior tutor as well as the hallmaster into office. That is the reason why they have gathered, as you can see behind me, showing some solidarity.
We are sending a signal that this particular policy they want to implement, they did it in the year 2010, we stop it, and 13 years later they want to do it and we'll stop it. Let me tell you something little. In the year 1957, this very particular hall you see was not named Commonwealth for nothing. In fact, Queen Elizabeth the Late flew all the way from UK to come to this one. You know what she did? She came to bow before the chief vandal. It has never happened before that the Queen has ever bowed to anybody. But in the year 1957, because of the prominent legacy of this hall, the whole Queen Elizabeth bow before the chief vandal. This hall you see has enviable values that we cherish. Look, I am a person with disability. And this is a hall that is classless, non-discriminatory. What this hall presents are people who can deliver. And this particular hall, few people out of their own capricious agenda want to truncate the hall. Let me take you to the Constitution of Ghana. Reference your mind to Article 296 of the Ghana Constitution. What the Constitution says is that any person vested with power that is discretionary must not exercise this in a capricious manner. You have to be fair, you have to be candid. Look, in August 2022, it is alleged that there was a clash between students from Commonwealth and students from Sabah Hall. And the university, within their wisdom, set up an investigative committee. Now, the text of reference of the committee was to come up with findings and, if possible, find people culpable for that complicity. As we speak today, nobody knows who were complicit, who are the wrongdoers. And in the words of the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, he said that Commonwealth and Sabah cannot go ahead with the JC election because what if a criminal gets elected? The same logical reasoning is that what if a criminal doesn't get elected? So the point we are making is that, one, you don't visit the sins of a father on an innocent son. In few miscreants, whom as of today we cannot authenticate their background, whether they are Vandals, they are voter hall students, they are Sabah hall students, nobody knows about them. Until a competent committee establishes so, me and you, we don't know. I never knew law until I came to Legon and read about law. And in criminal proceedings, two things must be established. You must establish autus rea mens rea, what is the action and the intention. We all know the action that was, but what was the intention behind? And who are the people involved? And in matters of law, anybody that's level allegation must be proven to be innocent until proven otherwise. So as we speak today, those students we are talking about, nobody can say authenticately that they are complicit, unless the committee says so. So we are sending a signal to VC and all those involved that, look, we want to joy. Rollins said one thing, that when the enemy pull a gun, you pull a gun. You sit down to negotiate. But we are telling them they have beaten more than they can chew. Because you see, Vandals are many. You are talking about a hall that has produced president of this country, ministers, CEOs. You don't kid with them. And you can see the energy today. There's going to be a series of action.
Are there some ultimatum you are giving to the school authorities for which, if the school authorities do not meet this, what is your next line of action?
Thank you very much. And first of all, old Vandals, I mean, as you can see the numbers, first of all, there are certain levels of engagement that is currently happening. This is one of the engagement. In fact, as you can see, we've also are engaging the alumni of Mensa Sabah Hall. A lot of people have the misconception that Vandals and Sabah Hall do not have that harmony. I want to say it on authority that Commonwealth Hall and Sabah Hall always and has always proven that they've been working together. As you can see, there are Vandals here, there are Mensa Sabah Hall also here. Now, the university authority, even though we have old Vandals that are engaging some of the key stakeholders, we are giving them by the end of this week to rescind their decision, because we believe that it's a knee-jerk approach. And as you can see, there are some of the young Vandals who are unable to even come because they are in northern region. Some of them are in Brongafo, some of them are in Koforidia and others. And positioning them into a hostel that they cannot afford, it means that you are denying them access to education.
After 1 week, especially, I'm told that the next week is a resumption of students. After 1 week, if the school is not able to rescind its decision, what is the old Vandals going to do?
First of all, let me mention that in a battlefield, when you are going to war, you don't lay bare your tactics and everything. But this is a clear example of one of the means. And we have other opportunities and available medium. When you are going to battle, you don't lay forth all your army, but we want to drum home to the university authorities that, yes, we are going to engage them. We are going to explore our available means, but they must rescind their decision, because this is a knee-jerk approach and it will deny a lot of people access to education as well. Moreover,
if you want to
allow this system to stay. What it means is that there will be no leadership, because the people who have been admitted into the hall in the first place are too new to even find their bearing in the school. That is number one. The second thing is that you need people to as it were, integrate you into the university community. And you cannot do that when you come and dump people here. And the architecture of this building is such that even to navigate yourself through the hall, you might get missing. You know, but the bigger picture is that there is a culture of oneness, the love that we share, that irrespective of where you are coming from in this country, once you get to Commonwealth Hall, you will be able to survive, money or without money. It is that tradition that has kept us. Whether you have money, you don't have money, you will succeed in Commonwealth. And there are so many examples of people who came here with nothing, who have made a mark in this country. And it is that passion that will make somebody travel from Bolgatanga and will want to come and be part, that his voice will be counted. So we are here to support the university in all their legitimate endeavors. We will support them. And history of this hall have taught us that we have demonstrated much love than any other alumni body in the university. For example, we started a two main project, a $75,000 sanitation project sponsored by Old Vandals, where we decided to renovate all the washrooms. We've done that of the lower terrace, but not for these disruptions, we would have completed that project. Then in the view, if you look at all the halls here, all the halls have annexes, including Voter Hall. It is only Commonwealth Hall that has no annex. We recognize that the university itself is facing increasing accommodation problem. Old Vandals sourced $42 million projects, for which we launched it here. Then the former VC, Professor Odro, came with the university PRO and all those who matter to come and commission. At the sword cutting, distinguished Old Vandals like Alaji Alawa, a 3-time journalist of the year of GA, Nana Aku Sapo, even at his age, in his late 80s, he came to support. Senior Imbro, may his soul rest in peace. Dasibre Otibuate, the former or the previous Omanhene of New Jabe, was here to support such a lofty idea. We had moved equipment to sites. Then this VC led a team of 28 convocation members that they are maneuvering, the project was stalled. To the extent that the investors
Excerpts of what transpired earlier today at the University of Ghana. We'll be having an extensive conversation on this, because key amongst the concerns of the group is that management actually failed to provide residents of the hall and particularly Commonwealth Hall the outcome of the investigations that were conducted into clashes that happened late last year. We'll hear also from the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, who's been justifying the decision of the university. But first, I want to welcome Bernard Odro Techi, is one-time, President, correct? Yes. Of the Commonwealth Hall, 2000. Yes. So, Mr. President, you're welcome in the studio, and Andy Akwetia is also one-time PM of that hall. For those of you who know about the Vandals and how their activities go, like they do have a structure. So he was one-time PM. But I want to start off with you, Bernard. The issue about why you're not willing to engage management and why you've decided to take this approach. Don't you feel that engaging them backdoor would be much more helpful?
Let me say good afternoon to your viewers and your listeners. And let me say good afternoon to my big senior V-mate. In fact, PM simply means more like a Speaker of Parliament. Right. So in the architecture of the Commonwealth, in the student front, we have the House of Laws, whereby people go there to make laws at the student level. And he was our Speaker of Parliament. In fact, Andy has been one of the brain behind most of the great things in the hall, and I respect him a lot. In fact, he got me on board for this whole struggle. You've asked a question, why not taking to dialoguing?
Yeah.
When the enemy pull a trigger, you pull a gun. Yeah. Simplicity. And
I'm not sure you're trying to say that management of the school
Wait.
is your enemy in this regard. You haven't gotten to that stage yet. I perfectly understand that.
And you see,
but that's why I'm asking why you're not engaging them.
When impunity gets to a point that people normalize impunity, you rationalize resistance. The reason is simple. In August 2022, there was a supposed clash between students from Commonwealth and Sabah Hall. And in the thinking of the university, they put together a competent investigative body. In my candid view, when you entrust such a body to undertake a mission, you have to respect the terms of reference of that investigative committee. If the university respects due diligence and due process, they have to give credence to the job of that committee. As we speak today, nobody knows, number one, whether the committee have exhausted their job, who were found culpable, who were found complicit in that act. In the words of the Pro-Vice Chancellor currently in charge of student affairs, he said, if people are found to be criminal. So at Vandals, our motto is simply true stance. We want to know the so-called criminals who engage in that dastard acts, that turning the image of the university to the level
and I need to state that I was on radio just a couple of hours to coming on TV. He was clear in his explanation. He says, if you need answers, why not, use the appropriate channels?
Have you read the other publication press release he has released outside? You see, the university is a corporate body. There's an act of parliament backing the university. All Vandals are stakeholders, not outsiders. And let me tell you, if you take this country today, it has churned out prominent people from that hall to the point that a former president is product of that hall. What we want to say is that if the university failed to deploy the tool of engagement, we will also use the same medium they use in engaging the public.
Andy, the sense of entitlement is part of the criticisms you faced as Old Vandals. The fact that this is a university, this is a public institution. Whatever decision it is that the University Council decides to take, that should be, I'm sorry for using the word, none of your business.
That is where the problem is, because we are stakeholders of the university. So whatever you are doing, we are supposed to be involved in it. It is not a case that you are supposed to come and impose things on us. Or even, is it imposition? We are supposed to agree on things. Okay, so you come out and say that there are a group of students who did some various acts, which you classify as vandalism, at a particular section of the university, which was not in Commonwealth Hall, neither was it in Sabah Hall. But then you come out to say that, okay, this was done, we have a security, an investigative team working on it. Then after a number of days, you decide to suspend some people of one side of the two factions that did this. And then you go ahead and say that now students of the hall, continuing students of the hall, do not qualify to stay in the hall. Now, only first year students are supposed to stay in the hall. Yes, granted. University of Ghana, when Commonwealth Hall was built way back, it was only first year students that stayed in the hall. We understand. But the question is that, where are we going now? Why do students go out for internships? So they can learn and gain experience. That is why we have continuing students in the hall who can give them the various experiences that they need. Now you are telling us that the continuing students cannot be there. Now, just imagine, that old farmer, my grandfather, who is somewhere around Rara, whose child has been able to pass the free SHS, now has finished first year. Now you are telling that child that even the 1,000 cedis that he was paying for RFU with, he paid 70% of that, and the university granted, the hall granted him the access to go. We're waiting the 30%. Now that child is supposed to go and pay 3,800 to a hostel, which some of you manage and are stakeholders in those hostels. So what are we saying? 20 years ago when I was admitted in the University of Ghana, the problem there was accommodation. So if the university is supposed to train people to solve problems in various institutions, how come after 20 years we cannot solve our problem with accommodation?
And you agree with me that for the past 20 years, there's been that constant tag of radicalism and vandalism associated with your hall.
No, but the problem...
You're not running away from that.
That is where the problem is. It is not about radicalism. It is not about vandalism. So I live with my children in the house. Then I decide to tell my children that, okay, the usual eating 3 times a day. Now, no, I'm going to give you 1 meal in the morning. By 4 p.m., they'll come back to daddy and say, Daddy, why are you not giving us food? That's how it is. So if I've been in the university in 2003, as a first-year student, and the main problem there was that accommodation was the problem. Right. Now, 20 years down the line, the university is supposed to train me to be employed by multimedia to give solutions to the problems that multimedia has. So if the problems that the university has with all the lecturers and the professors and all those people that are there cannot solve the accommodation problem with all the vast land that we have there, then what are we doing as a university? And what are we doing as a country? So then what we have to do now is that shut the people who can talk up, and then we can go ahead and do our policies.
Bernard,
what is that?
And you were talking about the investigations that were carried out. It appears you have an idea, and I'll allow you to land on that. The recommendations of that investigation, although that officially that document is not out, we do understand is what the council is following. You have seen that document.
Okay.
But it's not official. We need to put down
for the records.
So they're simply working with the recommendations.
For the records of your viewers, let me give a little bit of public education.
Right. Okay.
The university is run by statutes. Apart from the Act of Parliament regulating all public universities, there's a particular act statute for each university.
Right.
In the statute of university, there is something very imperative your audience and your watchers must know. Yeah. The regulations stipulate that if any traditional hall, the university wants to make any amendment to the embodiment of a hall, more than 2/3 majority of the members of that hall must undertake a resolution for that effect. What does it mean? When you take every traditional hall like Commonwealth, Saba, Ekwafo, Kwapon, etc., we have the junior common room, the senior common room. The regulations stipulate that 2/3 majority of the senior common, junior common room must pass a resolution calling for how they want the hall should be regulated. In this situation, let's ask a simple question. In the year 2010, they wanted to do the very same thing. We challenged them, went to court, and we won that case on the premises that the university kind of outlawed their own procedure in passing a judgment or a policy. Let's come to the year 2023.
Right.
Has the senior common room of Commonwealth and the junior come together to pass a resolution calling for the fact that they want fundamental changes to the embodiment? The answer is a big no. So I want to flip the narrative to the university management that they taught us law. And in law and in civil and criminal proceedings, due process is very important. So if the senior common room and the junior common room have not come together to have a joint resolution calling for fundamental changes in the body architecture of Commonwealth, any attempt to set that particular power is ultra, and it's a nullity. And you see, I say so because I have gotten the chance to be a leader of the hall. I was part of the resident board of the university. I attended several committees, and when I sit back and I look at the posture of the university, it is simply an agenda by people who feel that...
Leonard, you've not answered my question.
No, I'm coming to the answer
about the
to
recommendation.
I'm coming to the answer.
Basically, that's what they're working with.
Wait, you see, let me drive home a point, and I come to your answer.
Okay, right.
In the year 2010, they constituted the same committee. The committee never concluded their job, and they went ahead to penalize Vandals. When we went to court, the court gave a certain ruling that you cannot give a punishment on people when a committee have not exhausted their job. In the year 2023, this same committee report is not out. And I want to dare the university. We want to know those who were complicit.
But you know where to ask for that, isn't it?
I'm not supposed to. Who alleges must prove. If I say you are a thief, who must prove it? If I on this platform say you are a thief, who must prove that you are a thief? The onus is on me to prove that you are a thief. So if the university says that Vandals are complicit in a certain vulgar attitude, dastard behavior, they have to put out the report. And we want to use Joy to make a case that, look, if they think students or come out or any old Vandals were complicit in that report, we are giving them 72 hours. Let them publish the report, name those who were found to be culpable in that report. And when they do, you know our motto, true stance. We will come out openly to let them sanction whosoever is involved. But until that thing is done, any act by the university to go on the path we are going, they've beaten more than they can.
Okay, gentlemen, just hold on for me. I want to bring in Adam Bona. He was part of that committee some time ago when the first incident occurred. Dr. Bona, thank you for your time here on The Pulse. So you've heard from leadership of the old Vandals. They're simply not happy about this. First of all, because the findings of the investigations have not been made public. That's strange, isn't it?
Well, good afternoon, and good afternoon to your in-studio panel. Well, I chaired the committee, and we submitted our, final report to the Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Owamdare. And so we concluded our work sometime last year and handed the report to them, to the university, and they acknowledged it. And so I'm sure that if the university wants to put out a report, they would duly do so. But as far as I am concerned, myself and the members of the committee, we have done our work. We can't then decide what the university does with the report.
But Doc, this is where you're being accused of being part of the challenge, because the belief is the university is simply following part of the recommendations you made. It's creating a challenge on campus now. You take responsibility for that?
We are rather, probably, you want to say, part of the solution. If I'm sure at the right time, I wouldn't be able to tell what time is the right time. But I'm sure if the university should publish, or portions of the reports of our sittings, then you would realize that if care is not taken, one day we would wake up and University of Ghana would no longer be in existence. And I say this because we engaged, almost everybody who we needed to talk to, including, what do you call it, hall tutors. We engaged almost all of them, student leaders, both Commonwealth Hall, Sabah Hall, and, the part of the problem also has to do with politicians infiltrating the ranks of student activism and student politics on University of Ghana campus. And so all these things have been part of what our findings were. And I am very sure that when it is published, you would understand the fact that some students actually had with them corrosive chemicals like acid, some had petrol, some had all manner of chemicals. You are a student, first of all. You are there to study. What business do you have, having chemicals such as acid and the rest?
It's really interesting that you're asking that question.
Wait.
Yes.
Let me just
fair then. Yes.
land. Let me just land. Ours. I'm saying this because you said we, myself, chairing the committee together with the knowledgeable, committee members who investigated what took place, the dastardly act that took place on University of Ghana campus. We are part of the problem. We are not. We are rather part of the solution. And the solution is for the University of Ghana management to take bold steps and ensure that right steps are taken to probably do away with vandalism, do away with destruction. Some members of the university community got their vehicles bent. Some had their properties damaged. Some who ran businesses at the university had their businesses, destroyed. And mine is that the university community, if you ask me as a chairman, listening to, the testimony from some of the people we invited, it was harrowing. And more so, you have a lot of, a lot of them, I won't say, who have no reason to be on that campus, who are staying in, they are done with their studies. Some of them have been rusticated, sacked, and they are still there, grooming the young ones and teaching them to do some of the things that when you ask me, per the laws of this country, it's an affront. But you and I know that the police cannot walk into University of Ghana campus and start arresting students. They must go
why not? Why not? And that's why I was about building a point on that. Why not? Why won't the police act? Because this is a case of criminality. If indeed we are to crack down on the people.
The university is semi-autonomous. You can't just walk. The university is you can't just walk into the University of Ghana campus and say students have committed. There are various protocols you must follow. And so the police, if someone even commits a crime, that is why they have the University of Ghana security. You are arrested, and then they take you through the process and you are handed over to the police for further investigation and prosecution, if probably you have to be prosecuted. So it is not as simple as you would put it. It is a reason why when students are demonstrating on campus, sometimes when the call goes to the police come in usually unprepared. If intelligence, probably they didn't pick early intelligence. And I am pointing to the, some of the distractions that took place on campus. The police is called because then, if you look at our public order act or law, you are supposed to pre-inform the police, not to take permission, but pre-inform them that you want to demonstrate. Why do you think the framers of our Constitution put that as part of our statutes? It was to ensure that the police are prepared. They know how many people are likely to come, what routes you are likely to use. Then they sit with you and discuss. But that is not the case on University of Ghana campus. So usually you have spontaneous, demonstration students, and the police cannot just go in there and begin to probably clamp down on students. There are processes. Yeah, but usually things get destroyed before the police come in. And so for me, I think that we did our work. We handed over our report to the university, management. And so as far as we are concerned, the university would have to management, would have to take bold decisions. And so whatever decision they take that will bring peace on campus, I believe that it should be supported.
I'm going to be very direct here. Does it look like they're following what it is that you told them?
Well, the report is not out yet, and I wouldn't want to preempt the university. But as far as I'm concerned, blessed, the university must take bold decisions based on the recommendations we gave them, based on our findings, and what we've submitted to them. And I do believe that if what they are doing, is part of the report, so be it. But what I want to say is that most of the things management are supposed to do, or they are trying to do, have been part of our report. And so for me, they should take bold decisions. That's what I think. Because bold. First of all, students are there to learn. And if you, unlike our time, the A-level days, O-level, A-level, you go to school when you are grown. Today, you have children, infants. I mean, by the law, infants who are the university. And when if you watch some of the videos and the distractions, children shouldn't be terrified. Children in these universities, especially University of Ghana, Tech and the rest, shouldn't be terrified.
Dr.
Our time, we were much older.
Right. Dr. Bona, you would want to hold on for us. Because in studio here, BOT and Andy, they seem to have some challenge with what it is that you're saying. Andy, you disagree with Dr. Bona on that?
In the first place, I don't think that children, don't describe those who are in school after 18 years as children. No, it's wrong.
Yeah, but there are people below that age.
Let me correct him. It's wrong. It is not every student on University of Ghana campus. I have my nieces, it's not every student on campus who is 18. If he knows the definition of a child, he should tell me. Some of these students are under 18. Some of them are 16. Some of them are 15. Some of them are actually, probably you can have 17. Let's not categorize all of them to be above 18. So
but you were the one who was generalizing children.
The generalization of his statement is preposterous. You see why? I got the chance to run a matured entrance exam business in Ghana. And I want to put to Dr. Bona right, that there are students on Legon more than 50 years. I want to tell him on this show.
And there are equally,
so
persons who are children.
Don't generalize them as children.
That kind of thinking, you see.
But equally, we have minors on
There is the defeatist thinking that always echoes in the minds of some university management officials, and it gets them wrong. I want to tell you, there are students on campus who have done their masters twice and they're doing their PhD. And if you put them on a thinking table, some can think better than even professors.
No, but
so let us have this erroneous thinking.
Okay.
Let's clear that mentality. That when you see those people that they are kids, they are not kids. And in fact, maturity is not in age. You can have somebody at the age of 50 who will be very immature. And you can get somebody at the age of 21 very matured. Before King Solomon was born, where other people older in the Bible who were there, let's put this Methuselah thinking away and face the reality. You put a very frontal question to him. That is the university management implementing the content of your report? What did he say?
He couldn't answer straight.
He says take the bold decision.
I wrote it here.
I
wrote it here.
Yes.
I wrote every submission he's made here.
Right.
You ask him a direct question. He was being evasive. That is the university implementing the findings of your investigation? He said no, the university must take a bold decision.
Yeah, precisely what he says.
So is that the finding of the...
Blessed, don't speak for the man. Okay. We are not case on this platform too, please. You ask him a frontal question. Are they implementing the findings of the investigation? Right. He said they should take bold decisions.
Yes, bold.
That bold decision warrant implementing the findings of their investigation. No, you see, let's be very honest here. The report should be published. In the year 2017, there was a visitation panel report. Okay? That was commissioned by the government of Ghana and international bodies. Right. They published that report to the consumption of everybody in the country. Today, we are Vandals. Our motto is true stance. We are not asking for more or less. All we're saying is that some students got involved in some dastard acts. We want to sing the same song with university management. Publish the full report out so that the over 31 million of people in Ghana can know that these were the people involved. They are Vandals, they are Vikings, they are Voltarians, they are Kwafu people. But if that has not been done, and anybody want to implement a kangaroo kind of findings, we will not take it.
Andy, and based on that point, if the management puts the report out, I mean, are you willing to now allow for the changes to take effect?
Our motto is true stance.
Yes.
And we don't compromise
and that should include the in, out in that's been implemented now. Are you open to that?
For what I'm saying is that my first issue about all these things is about...
Because you want the report out. If the report goes out,
the report's
will you
coming
be
out,
open to what's been implemented now?
No, but whatever is coming out of the report, we want to know what I can't say straight away that we can accept.
But if you know, will you accept what's happening?
But I don't know it now, so I can't accept it now. But for me, with our motto true stance, we believe that if it is the case that I and the Akwetia, I was part of the team that went out there and I need to be sent to wherever it is, take me there. That is what we are talking about. But you don't go there and then say that there is a report, that the report should be implemented, bold decisions should be taken. And then the report is carved nicely in an oven. And then you expect that bold decisions are being taken. And this bold decision is affecting somebody else.
How would the report change for the old Vandals?
Let us know. Then we know that, okay, 600 people in Commonwealth were part of the demonstration. Because we have also done our own investigations. We've not gotten any information yet. So then what we are saying is that give us the university is the one who asked the security agencies to do this. Right. Okay, give us what you have gotten. Let us say that, Bernard, at the time, you were supposed to be in London, but you were in Commonwealth at that time. You were part of those who did the demonstration. So the law has caught up with you. You are supposed to go to court. Then we all avail ourselves and go to court. Then the right things are done. But if you are teaching me in the classroom that this is the procedure, then when it comes to you, it doesn't work that way. No.
Okay, and Bernard,
so
Dr. Bona was just raising a point that some of you, the old Vandals, for instance, you're fighting this because most of your members still remain on campus. You don't want to leave campus. I mean,
let me tell you. You see, when people made this kind of generalized thinking, it gets
but that's a fact, isn't it?
I bless it. See, in some of
are you first of all disputing that?
Big time dispute. I mean, let's put it that's still on. It belongs to the dustbin. No, he made a very profound statement that the university is a semi-autonomous body. You know what it means? It means that the university does not operate in isolation. And stakeholders ought to be involved in making a decision. Who are the stakeholders? Old Vandal play a critical role. You have in this country the Chief Justice being an old Vandal. Minority Leader in Parliament being an old Vandal. First Deputy Speaker of Parliament being an old Vandal. When making such a bold decision that can affect them, Blessed, what do you do? We are not calling for more. You see, even after war, people go to negotiating table to dialogue. You know what we can do best? The VC and Hair and Taraj, let's sit on the negotiation table. And let's find a way to let the tradition stay. I cannot for a moment wake up one day and hear that a hall that had the whole Queen of England flying all the way from England to Ghana to salute my chief Vandal is gone. We won't take it.
What's the big deal?
The big deal is that, you see, imagine one day you wake up and, excuse my language, the Tumfor Palace is gone. How would the Ashantis take it? Imagine one day.
This is a public university.
No. Why did you think they chose Sabah Hall, Kwafu Hall, Legon Hall, Kwapon? But when they go to the people at the top, they say Commonwealth. There's a nexus between Commonwealth and 54 Commonwealth countries. That is why in opening up the hall, the Queen of England in 1957 flew all the way from UK to come to Ghana to salute my chief Vandal. Blessed, let me tell you on this show, it will wash.
Is your ego not getting in the way?
No. So with this, let me come in. Let me come in. Bernard, let me come in. We're talking about ego.
I can finish.
Okay, you finish.
Retract that word first. It's not ego.
I mean, to be fair,
See,
I'm just asking.
You have a pro-vice chancellor who referred to students as criminals. I'll send you his publication. He said that they are holding on to elections in Commonwealth and Suburb because what if a criminal gets elected? Who is a criminal? How? You have a whole professor referring to students who are going through investigation report not out as criminals, and you think that is not egoistical? Please, let's face reality here. Let's call a spade, not a big spoon. Our bone of contention is that Commonwealth must not be penalized because of an agenda by few people. And we old Vandals believe that if people have gone wrong, penalize them using the law due process.
You know what, Andy, just hold on with your thoughts. I understand that the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Gordon Awandere, has been speaking to my colleague James Aveji. Let's listen to the justification from the school, and then Dr. Bona also come back to you, so just hold on for us. Let's listen in.
The steps we took are based on the information we've gathered so far from the investigations. We don't need to wait for the investigations to be completed for students to be jailed before we take steps. These are steps that are meant to, stem the tide of violence that has been taking place. So there's no need for us to wait for investigations to be completed before we take any steps. So as we go along, you gather information based on the evidence you have so far. You take steps to prevent further violence. That's what we're doing. We've sent them to university hostels. UGEL are partly owned by the university. UGEL hostels are partly owned by the university. So they are not some alien places that we've sent them. You understand? And we've given every person who had a room legitimately, we've given them another room. Yes, there's a difference in fee, and so what? There are other students paying the same fees. What's wrong with that? There's variation in fees across the campus. So you deal with what you have. Okay? So we've not put any student on the street or send them home. We've given them another room. If there's a difference in fee, that's your luck. That's how it works.
That's the justification we're getting from the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Gordon Awandere. I'll come to you, gentlemen, shortly. But Dr. Bona, you just had their submissions there. First of all, disputing what it is that you're saying about issues relating to some of the people who are still resident but have left school or have either deferred as part of the findings that you made.
So I can understand them. I'm sure the last speaker before you played Professor Wandare's tape actually alluded to the fact that, comparing, Otumfuo's Palace to Commonwealth Hall, where you wake up one morning and Otumfuo's Palace is gone. I can understand them. But mine is that the onus is on everybody, including the Old Vandals Association, to ensure that the right thing is done. And so they should. I think they have requested for dialogue. I think, yes, they should find a way to dialogue. The point is that if you ask me from where I sit, the university management has the university to run. And the university is not just the students. The university is a community. And so the management owe it to every Ghanaian to run a very peaceful academic environment where people go to acquire knowledge. And I think when I mentioned that they are children, they actually misread it and said I generalized it. Yes, they are children, even if there are 10% of them who are under 18. These are still referred to as children per our laws. And so as far as I'm concerned, the community is there for everyone who either works there, is a student there, both senior, junior, faculty members, the working, class there, their families. It belongs to everybody. And so as far as I'm concerned, what has been taking place in the past, this is not the only time there's been riots, on University of Ghana campus. But it is taking, I don't know how long they finished, their programs on University of Ghana campus. But in the past, I will tell you that there were riots, but it didn't take this dimension. It was the pure student mischief. But today, it's moved to an angle where students are using deadly implements And you asked me a question that has to do with, purchase. Yes, if you, probably if the university decides to publish it, you would notice that those who gave testimony, almost all of them spoke to the fact that, yes, there are activities of purchase on this, in these halls. And it is something that is worrying. Some of them are dismissed. Some of them have finished and, doing national service. Some of them are actually working, and they spend a lot of time on these campuses. And, our findings also pointed to a situation where some of these older folks are the ones who are kind of training the young ones to do some of the things, took place. And we actually spoke to some former students of some of these halls, and their testimonies have been captured, in the report. And so this is not someone just speaking without facts. I'm speaking to a situation where, and it will interest you to know that you have a situation where you have students crisscrossing from the 3 or so traditional universities, KNU, Legon First, KNUST, and Cape Coast. So you have their counterparts coming from Katanga Hall. When they have to celebrate some activities, they come and join them, and you have those from Cape Coast, the other halls also come in, and they do that. And you will realize that when these things started off in Legon, as part of our discussions during the findings, we mentioned it that, you see, if this doesn't stop, the spillover, it will move to University of, KNUST. It didn't take long. We saw what happened in KNUST. And I think prosecutions, arrests, and other things are going on. And so as far as I'm concerned, it is worrying where, students take the laws into their own hands. Not the usual thing, students would do. At this time around, carrying petrol, carrying acid, carrying all manner of implement that would maim and kill people or damage property beyond, repair. For me, it is worrying, and we made it clear to the university that if you don't take pragmatic measures, one day, some of these students who feel so entitled will go and bring gasoline and spread this gasoline on this campus and set it on fire. And probably we would get up one morning and University of Ghana is gone. That is how, worrying the situation is, as we collected, testimonies from those who came to give us information. And, I believe that when the report is published, it also has something to do with, national politics. It has something to do with national politics. So we have made recommendations on that, hoping that they will take, a decision on that as well, because then the moment national politicians who, the usual MPP, NDC, their things get into, some of these confined areas, where people are supposed to be learning to acquire knowledge, then there are a lot of issues. And so for me, I am hoping that some of these decisions by the university would help. But then I think there should be dialogue. Those in your studio, I believe they are members of Commonwealth Hall. They should find a way to dialogue, because at the end of the day, even if the decision has already been taken, they should find a way to engage, to understand what happened. Right. Because then being confrontational, I don't see it to be, anywhere closer to, solving the problem on University of Ghana campus.
Dr. Adambona, we're grateful for your time here on The Pulse. And I just want to round everything off with you, gentlemen. And Andy, you were just about wrapping up on the points that he was making.
Yes, seriously. I wanted to cite an example with the issue of Professor Nyame. Right. Where Professor Nyame was pushed to the extent of even sent to the University Council and all that he crashed one of the lecturers or something's phone and all that.
Holding him accountable for what's happened.
For what happened. Yeah. Professor Nyame, if you know Professor Nyame very well, even if a mosquito should be on his thigh, he will tell the master, go away, I'm doing something, go away. He can't even raise a finger to hurt. So for Professor Nyame to get angry, it means that something happened. What is it? What exactly is the problem? Why are we neglecting the main problem, and then we come and say that the students they are purchased in Commonwealth? How did they become purchased in Commonwealth? Because they do not have places to sleep. Is it not the academic board that admitted the students into the hall? They don't know that in Commonwealth we can take 1,000 students or 200 students. Why would you take more than 200 students into Commonwealth Hall? Because you expect that they should have a place to sleep. So then the problem is that Commonwealth Hall decided to say that, no, we have too many perches in Commonwealth Hall. Now, let us build a hostel. We are looking for our own facility, as in finances, to build the whole hostel. We got it, and then we spoke to the university authorities, and then the whole project started. Then, that is the problem. Commonwealth is building a hostel. They will increase the number of students. They will be ungovernable. So then that's the problem. What are you talking about?
Anyway, because we don't have all of the time, let me give the final thoughts to you.
Dr. Bonham made the point about politicizing activities of students.
Yeah. Sure, you're interested in
and
that. As a politician yourself.
Very defeatist for me. You know why?
You seem to have a personal... Should I call it a personal issue with Dr.
No,
Bonham?
I disagree sharply with his position because he's not being truthful to the point. Who appointed the vice-chancellor?
The president.
Is that president of Ghana?
Yeah, but
is the president a man of God?
You don't expect the vice chancellor
you see,
to be political. This is an academic society.
Come on, and who appointed the vice chancellor? Did you appoint the vice chancellor? Wasn't appointed by a politician. So if a politician appoints a vice chancellor, it's not a political decision. Take the academic board. I've been there before, so I know so many things he doesn't know. But I have been there. Look at the difference between me and Dr. Bona. I have been there from where he's talking from. He has not been there. I've been on resident board, part of academic board, represent the university on certain even convocation. If you take the membership, a huge percentage is appointed by politicians. So how do you expect politicians to appoint VC and other members and expect the student for not to be political? So that argument is defeated. Dialoguing. You see, the media is the fourth estate of realm. Certain things dialoguing cannot do, the media can do. And I can tell you in this country, result that the media have achieved that ordinary people wouldn't have achieved it. You think this platform is a joke? Do you know the impact has been here will make? Last of it all. And it is a challenge I'm throwing out to Yoko and BNI.
Okay.
And and let me do off my cap. We've done our own investigation. When Dr. Bona was talking, he made the point that there's a hostel that the University of Ghana owns a share, owns interest. As to who other interests are, he didn't mention it. The investigation all Vandals have done is to establish that a lot of the hostels are being owned by university management officials. So when they bring this in, out, and they kick out the student, they will go out and rent their hostels. So on this note and on this show, I'm calling on BNI and Yoko that they should commence an investigation and establish who are the number one shareholders and beneficial owners of the hostel around. And that will vindicate us that the university management are not in there to cure any mischief. But they are there because when they send the student out there, they will end up renting hostel that they own. How do you punish people with this cruelty in mind?
Okay, we'll see if the BNI will deal with that. But just on the point...
I'm calling on Yoko and BNI. And maybe they call them now.
Right, okay.
That their task is to engage investigation. They should undertake a forensic investigation and know the shareholders and beneficial owners of the hostels around, and it will be established that it is owned by this university management official, and that is why they are interested in this in, out, but not letting the students stay on campus.
We need to go, but you were raising a point earlier about the politics of it.
Yes.
Where lies the influence of the governing council of the university?
If I am a president of Ghana, and I appoint you, Blessed, as the VC, whose instruction will you take? So the first of it all.
Yeah, no, but in terms of the decision to arrive at, at that selection, the choice of the vice chancellor, obviously the governing council has an influence.
And what did they do? What did they do? Go. You see, I'm saying that. You see, the difference between me and Dr. Bona is that I have been to where he is talking that he has not been there. I've been to academic board, resident board, and on convocation. He has not been.
You feel there's undue influence?
It's very politicized. Before you even go for meeting, the political class will meet the top people. At times, look, there are times that the party national chairman will be there. What is the business to be there?
Party chairman are attending.
Will be there.
University council.
Will be there. At times they will be there.
Because you have evidence to
yes, when I was there, they will be there. When you are taking certain critical decisions, you will see them there. What is the business to be there? There are times when you are taking certain serious decisions, they will be there. So the point is
but Bernard, these are serious claims you're making.
I am telling you on this show who appointed the vice chancellor. And a colossal percentage is appointed by the president. So will you expect the president of the country to appoint people who act against his interests? Hell no. So the first officer, the top echelon of the university, is run by appointment of political class. So you cannot take politics out. But what we are saying is that let sound judgment prevail.
Okay.
And that sound judgment is that Commonwealth must stand the test of time. If Manshia cannot go down, Commonwealth cannot go down.
You have any comment on what the next line of action
yes,
will be?
Yes.
What will you be doing next?
You see, let me put this in key. You see, mum son daya eshenitim. Mum son daya eshenitim. When going for war, you don't put your arsenal out. But you want to assure the investment management that they have beaten more than they can do. That I'm very confident.
Okay.
So just to end it, just like they thought that today, just like they thought that today we were going to have thousands of people in Commonwealth, and so they paraded a whole lot of security people around because they briefed them and told them that we were going to be confrontational, and then we just brought a few people because it was a meeting that we said we were coming for. It's the same way.
The meeting never happened.
We did our meeting.
Okay, right.
It was our meeting, so we did it. Whatever we wanted to do, we've done, and we are finished with our meeting. So just like they thought we were coming with 1 million people. Yes, it's the same way. We also have a strategy, the way they have their strategy.
Okay then, Andy and Bernard, I'm sure that would engage again on this. This is not the end of it, but of course,
we want to call on all Vandals globally to come on board, because when you touch one, you touch all.
Okay, we'll see if that will happen, but I'm grateful, gentlemen, for joining us. Also to Dr. Adam Bona for joining us. You're still watching The Pulse. When we return, we'll talk about the free senior high school policy. The program is up for discussion again. We'll talk about it shortly.